Okay, guys and gals, about 10 seconds of the obligatory disclaimer. If you want to read the whole thing, just pause the video. All right, folks, this is going to be members only video. Let's talk about the S&P 500. I'll also look at crude oil. And that'll probably be all. I might take a peek at gold, but we'll do S&P 500 crude oil for sure. So we're still looking at the S&P 500 June contracts, okay? These are futures /ES on the TD Ameritrade TOS platform. So this software looking at here, some people ask me what software this is. This is called the Thinkorswim desktop trading software, TD Ameritrade. Okay, I think it's only available for U.S. Customers. You could try to download it if you're international, but they may tell you no. Let's talk about this, what we're seeing here in the S&P 500. I'll just say right off the bat, the S&P 500 right now, guys and gals, S&P 500 looks like STP. Anybody remember the STP oil treatment? Yeah, I remember that product. S&P 500 is garbage. That's what that is. I don't have to explain that sound to you, right? Y'all know what that means, right? Garbage. That's where this is going. That's where it's been going. It's where it's still going. Down. This thing is in horrible condition. Yeah, I talked last week, I think it was, I talked about the talking heads. Oh, the talking heads. Let me make this dot a little bit bigger because the dot's a little bit, if I can figure out how to do it. Somewhere in there is a dot. Here it is. The talking heads. Last week I talked about the talking heads. You know who they are, right? That's not an A, but we'll just call it an A. Just pretend like that letter right there is an A, okay? Woo! It's supposed to be an A. Talking heads. Okay? Talking head, not heading. Talking head, the capital A. Well, they want us to wait till they tell us what the market's doing and that the economy's just fine. No, it's not. Of course we know that's a lie. Look at this today. Let's zoom in on this. Let me show you something here. Let's take a closer look at what's going on. And then I'll give my thoughts about where I think this is headed and so on and so forth and how I might trade this in the near future. Okay, so look at this candlestick right here. By the way, today is Friday, May 20th, 2022, in case you want to know what date this video has been done. I'm reviewing May 20th. Okay? And look at this candlestick. It goes from here down to there. 3807.5. Why does it say low? Well, this drawing is this chart, is a daily chart, but it's 1 year. 1 year daily. That means, you know what that means, right? What is this telling us? Within 1 year, today was the lowest over the last 12 months. The lowest. Yeah. And that candlestick right there broke below this trend line. Is that significant? Oh, heck yeah, that's significant. Now, let me back out a little bit because I want to talk about this. What's going on here? What's this right here? What's this right here? What are these guys doing here? What's that all about? Bada bing, bada boom. What's going on? Okay, the two lines, the top line, that one right there, and the bottom line, this is called a descending, widening wedge. That's what that is. Okay, it's descending. It's also widening, right? So it's narrower here, right? That's wider here. Right? It's not a rectangle, right? We're not getting this. Like that kind of thing, right? So this is widening as it's going down. Okay, a lot of times, well, not a lot of times, but sometimes when it comes down like this, it'll break to the upside and then break out above it. Do I think that's going to happen this time? Oh, hold on a second. I got to laugh for a little while. Of course it's not going to break out above this thing. Could it happen? Yeah, anything is possible. Okay, where is this all the way up here? This like 4405. Okay, this right here, this candlestick right here was the cycle low for that puppy right there. Okay, you can see clearly we went from this was a low, it came up, it had a hard time. By the way, whenever let's look at this cycle right here. I want to talk about this. I've talked about this before, but for some members, you may not be aware of this. Okay, so this is a cycle, an element of time. Okay, and we watch price action through this element of time. Okay, of this time frame. And right now, these are 35 trading days, if I remember right. Let me hover over top of it. Let me get this thing to play nice. Yeah, 35 bars means 35 trading days, okay? So this is 35 trading days from this point here to this point here, okay? So all these arcs are just an element of time, so just be aware of that. But what I want you to notice is, and we're going to look at this cycle specifically, and then we'll talk about this one and this one, okay? You'll notice this cycle peaked right here, right? If I draw a straight line down, yeah, it peaked on the left side of the center. This is about the center line, right? So it peaked on this side. That's a bearish scenario, okay? It's very bearish. You see how this one over here, through last year, when things were still going up, see how it peaked right here? If we were to draw, this is the middle point of that cycle, about right there. But if we were to draw a vertical line down, it's somewhere right around there. So this cycle, for this cycle right here, the peak was to the right of the middle. Okay, that's what we call bullish scenario. Okay, but on this cycle, it peaked to the left side. That's bearish, and sure enough, it trended all the way down until it got to the end of the cycle. Let's look at this one. Same thing, peaked to the left of the middle of the cycle. That, believe it or not, is bearish, and sure enough, it didn't take out the all-time high, which is up here. Okay, came down, hit this candlestick right here, and oh my goodness, 3 days? Let's clear everything because that's getting messy. So this is the cycle low, this candlestick right here. And what did it have? A rebound of 3 days. It had two days. 2 green days. If this cycle's doing what I think it's doing, because I talked about this last week, it's possible cycles are changing. The length of the cycle could be changing, but we don't know that yet. It's too early to tell. But if this cycle is doing what I think it's doing, this is huge bearish. This is like massively bearish. Look where it peaked. Like it had 2 days into the cycle, and that's it. It's done. Done. So even if it bounces off this now, and now it's gotten below this trend line, today it did. Okay, even if it bounces up, I mean, this thing is just like Deadsville. Deadsville. We're heading more like over here, okay? But, you know, we're going to pay attention to that one too. So the reason I'm mentioning this is because it looks like this thing may, and I say may, we don't know yet, may have peaked right here. Like way to the left side. Okay, I'm sorry. 3 days was here. My bad. It may have peaked right here, my bad. I'm looking at the wrong one. It may have peaked right here. Right there. Like barely into the cycle. And then crash and burn. And it might fart around up here a little bit and then boom. I mean, this is like, this is your shorter's dream. There's just so much money. Look at this. It's just like, let's make some money. Look at this MACD. Crossover, rejected, no crossover. Didn't cross over. Look how far below the zero line this thing is. My goodness, what is it at right now? The MACD today is at a negative 112. Oh my gosh. Over here it was a negative 116. That is like, look, the zero line's up here. Compared to last year when it was all, oh, everybody said we're going long to the moon forever and a day. Then Brandon came in. Okay. Brandon, you know, the guy that everybody voted for all-time popular vote record. Brandon beat the all-time popular vote record. Hold on a second, I got something in my throat. That's right. Okay. Just in case you all were wondering, you didn't know this, he had the all-time. That's how awesome Brandon is. All-time popular vote record. Yeah. Uh-huh. The selected one. So since the old Brandy's been in, I'm going to start calling him Brandy. Yeah, we've been doing that. All right, so what do I think is going to happen next? Well, I talked about the middle of May, or I'm sorry, the late May. So that right here in the middle of this cycle, the peak of this, or the ideal peak, but I just call it the halfway point. I don't really get into peaks and valleys because I know that pricing can do whatever it wants to do. But right in there is about May 27th, okay? So right there, as weak as this thing is right now, oh my gosh, the second half of this cycle, who knows where it's going? Who knows? Now it could bounce and get up in here and come down. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But right now, this market looks horrible. So 527, I'll be looking for some opportunities on the backside of this cycle to short, okay? Short the futures. -1 contract. Maybe even if I get brave, -2. E-micros. I'll be trading E-micro. So for those who want to know what that is, that's MES. /MES. I think that's supposed to be an S. Okay? But to be honest with you guys, looking at this other cycle past it, about July 15th, somewhere around there. Okay? July 18th, July 15th, somewhere in that area. Right there. This is the cycle that I really think has got. That's the one that's got the mustard on it, man. We'll have to wait to see, but that's where I think we're going to see a big, huge, going late, middle of July, going into August and September. I think that's where the big money is going to be made down. And I think we will break below 30. Look, we're only 107 points away from 3,700. I've been talking about 3,700 for the last month or two. We are going to go below that. That's going to happen easy. Bang. And I also think long term, 2,400 is possible. Okay. So I really like, I tend to like, we'll have to see how this develops, of course. We'll visit this. But I really like July 15th past that for short side trades. Now this one, I'm not saying it's bad, May 27th and beyond through, whatever that is right there about June 21st. When's in this cycle? June 20th? June 21st, okay? So from very late May to like the like maybe just going into the third week of June, I think there's probably going to be opportunity there to short, okay? Now, I've been just doing a lot of fixed income, guys. That's where, that's what I've been at, fixed income. I'm not doing a whole lot of trading I'm not trading any equities. I don't trade any stock. I haven't traded any stock in a long time, months. I have traded a couple futures contracts and made a few $100 here and there. That's all I've done. Everything else been fixed income, either corporate bonds or some government I bonds and whatever else, okay? All right, so that's my thoughts on what I think is possible good trades to the short side. Long trades in this market? Yeah, right, okay. Not me. Not happening. Okay, so let's take a look at when did this, I don't think these have changed. Let me just look at these cycles. Let me eyeball these cycles. For those that want to know, did the cycles change? Let me just look at this kind of with a fresh set of eyes here. Okay. Let me just go back and look at this. That still looks good. That still looks good. That's good right there. It's amazing how, I'm just, look at this, all the way back over here into August of last year. These cycles are still banging. Oh my gosh, these cycles are just absolutely banging. It's unusual. I've been doing cycle analysis for when Steve Miller was back at Tasty Trade. Okay? I mean, it's got to be, I don't know how long it's been, 5 years? I mean, he was back in Tasty Trade. I don't remember when he left. Okay? But it's been a few years, and I was following him for a few years there, and that's when I really got into cycle analysis. I've been doing this for well over 5 years. Okay. And I've gotten really good at cycle analysis. Eyeballing where the cycle lows are. It's to me, I just look at a chart and I can see if one, are there cycles, because that's important. Not all products have cycles. And two, if there are cycles, I can usually pick them out, especially if they're very cyclical and very obvious. If I see a product, meaning equity, futures, it doesn't matter. Commodities, okay? If I see it doesn't have very good cyclical patterns, forget it. I won't trade it. I just won't touch it. Look at this. Here's another one. Look at this. Look at all these. A low here. A low here. Low there. Low there. Bing, this one had a nice low, right, almost right in the middle. And then finished off right there. Bing, bang. I mean, my goodness, look at there's an obvious low. Well, okay, so anytime we're close to the present day, it gets harder to predict the cycle, right? Obviously, because we don't know the future, right? But look at these cycles, man. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 obvious cycles. Like, just huge. That's highly unusual. Okay? Just absolutely banging. Okay, so now we don't really know. I'm looking at this chart right here right now. This bar candlestick, does stand out as the cycle low, but as I said, this could change. But for now, we're going to keep this cycle. I don't see any reason just yet, because there hasn't been enough days. For those that want to know, how would I know if cycles change? Because I can just hear some people asking the question, well, how do you know if our cycles changed? Come on, man, help us out here. All right, so this candlestick is pretty obvious, right? It has a tail on it, and it lines up pretty well with this cycle low, yeah? Everybody can see that? So how will I know if the cycle has changed? The reason why we can't really tell yet is because there's only been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 days, 14 trading days, okay? So that's pretty short. It's not enough, I'll just call it T days, okay? It's not enough days for us to determine if there's been a cyclical change, a behavioral change in the cycles, okay? So that's why, for those of us who do cycle analysis, we're not really sure yet if we have a new cyclical pattern. What would that mean? That would simply mean, you'll see right there, it says 35 bars, period equals 35 bars, the bottom attribute. Okay? That would mean that period would change. It would probably, if anything, this period would get smaller. 35 bars is very long. That's very long for a daily cycle. Okay? So there may be some smaller cycles in between here, but to me they're not really very tradable. They're just, you can tell there's kind of something like right here and a little something right there. Okay, you can see there's kind of something right there in that cycle, but they're not predictably in the same spot. That's why I don't mark them. Okay, in other words, what am I talking about? Well, sometimes you'll see a cycle that goes like this, It's kind of like whatever. Okay, kind of like that. A little butt. It might be smaller down in here like this, okay? Another butt cheek. But, so in other words, you would see something in the middle that's tradable, but it's not really there. These cycles don't really, even in the middle of this cycle, there's, there's a little something there you could trade. It bounced for a few days and came down. I don't see that as being like reliably tradable, right? That's why I don't mess around. I don't play around with these really short cycles because they're not going to be as profitable, and your timing has to be really good. So I don't even risk it. I just don't bother with it. So I don't see right now enough data here, enough trading days just yet to say that we have a different cyclical pattern. Okay, so for now we're going to keep this pattern. So that means that we're still good to go for June 21st as a cycle low. Again, very end of May to June 21st. That would be, so from May 27th, okay, through about 6/21, which is this side of the cycle, that's where I'd be trading. If you're going to trade short that way. Negative contracts. 1, -2, -3. Don't get me into Count Dracula again, okay? So that's what I would do there. Now, this one over here, the middle of that cycle, and we'll have to wait to see. I don't really want to talk about this cycle too much because you could get a huge bounce. This behavior could change, pricing could come up such. So we got to wait to see. But for those that want to know when that cycle ends, August 9th. Okay, and then the one after that is September 27th. So that hasn't changed in the last few weeks, okay? Those are my thoughts on the daily chart, okay? The daily. Let me get this thing because I noticed it's another chart underneath there. That's it. That's my thoughts on what I think the daily is going to do. I think there's big opportunity here, but especially over here on that August 9th. Coming down to that one. I think that one's got some good stuff. Maybe even out over here even. Okay, let's look at the daily chart on this, and then I'll switch to crude oil and finish this up. Let's look at the hourly chart. Hourly chart is what I'm going to say. Hourly chart. Let's look at the hourly. Hourly. So what's happening? What's happened to the hourly chart? Oh my gosh. It's just crazy how predictable this stuff is. My goodness. It is nuts. Anybody who trades, who watches my videos, the members, okay, hopefully you're watching them. And last time I put out the video, I think I talked about these hourly. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this, man. I haven't changed anything, right? I just came into this hourly chart. We're on the hourly chart for the S&P 500. You can see my drawing set down here says hourly, right? I haven't changed anything. Just came in and looked at it. Look at this. Bam, bam, bam. There was a little something there too. Bam. Look at this. My goodness. How is that not an awesome hourly chart? Look at this hourly chart. Right on time. I mean, just look at that. It's crazy how predictable these cycles are. Look at this one over here. Bam. Down into it. It's nuts. It's like free money. I'm just looking at these charts and I'm just shaking my head. Even if you didn't trade, all of this from this point to here, you didn't trade any of this entire time, right? And you just said, you know what, I'm only going to trade Giddis's, my name's Jerry. Jerry's going into cycle lows. That's all I'm going to do. Oh my gosh, you'd have made a ton of money. Here's another one. Look at all that. Look at that huge change from 40.75 all the way down to 3,900. Oh my gosh, if you're trading futures, you made a buku bucks. Even one little tiny MES contract, you made a nice profit right here. So just look at this chart. Do I see any reason to change the hourly chart? No, I see no reason. Though this does have catch my eye. This big drop. But we've seen them before. Look at this one. Okay, it happens all the time. Here's one here. Okay, and this one. And it finished off strong going into the cycle low. Right there. So I'm not convinced that this is necessarily a new pattern for the hourly chart, okay? Because here's one that dropped right down, right in the middle of the hourly, right? Look at this little one right here in the middle. Anything in the middle here? Not really. It went up. Okay. Middle in this one? A little bit. Came up, stalled, tracked sideways, right in the middle of the cycle. So when it came up in the middle of the cycle, stalled, bombs away. Right smack dab in the middle of the cycle. Just very common. We see this time and time again. The middle of the cycle, prices either go track sideways or they'll drop. That's usually what you see. Now, there are exceptions like this one. This thing went to the moon right in the middle of the cycle. Okay, that's why I stick with end of the cycle, end of the cycle, end of the cycle. That's where the money's made. Because you can't trade this long. Cycle, people say, it's a new cycle. I'm going to trade long. There's nothing to trade long. It's like just dead. It just didn't do anything. It just tracked sideways. You got to trade that. Well, listen, for those that don't know, if you look at the hourly chart, you got to go look at the daily chart first and the weekly and monthly chart. What is the overall price doing? Well, the overall price on the longer charts is doing that, down. So on the hourly chart, don't be trading opposite of the longer time frames. That's crazy. Everybody understand me? Back to the daily. We're going to do this. I'm going to give everybody a free lesson. What is going on with the S&P 500 on the daily chart? This is the daily chart, daily S&P 500. What's happening on the daily? It's going down, down. And if you look at the weekly and the monthly, it's all doing the same thing, down. We're in a bear market, bearish. Okay, so now back over to the hourly. Okay. And what we're not going to do here is we're not going to be trading long. We don't trade long when everything else is going down. Okay, you got what I'm telling you? Just take advantage of the cycle hourly lows, man. That's it. Okay. All right, now let me give you some hourly stuff because I don't think this has changed since. I'm not going to change anything because this still looks really good. So from last week, if you looked at last week's time frames, you're going to get the same chart. Now I'm going to keep an eye on that big drop right here to see what happens if the behavior changes. Okay, but for now I think we're still good here. Okay, so what are they? This has already been talked about. May 24th, 6 a.m. I already did this last week. You could watch last week's video. You're going to get the same thing. But May 24th, 6 a.m. Okay, that's that one. Okay, this one is May 30th, midnight. May 30. Midnight, 12 a.m. I got my chicken scratch going. I'm supposed to be at 5. Chicken. This over here is June 2nd, 7 p.m. June 2nd, 7 p.m. Okay. Now, when you're watching this price action on each of these expected hourly lows, keep an eye on that price action. Don't make crazy trades. Okay. You want to be looking at your MACD. Is it crossing over? Look, it's crossed over here. Crossed over. Oh, I'm trading short. I'm trading with the market, right? I'm trading with the monthly, weekly, and daily chart. All in agreement we're going down. Guys, guys and gals, it can't get any better. I mean, people all want to trade long. Get off the long train. It's dead. It's done, at least for quite a while. You used to trade in short side. Okay? When you see the monthly, weekly, and daily all in agreement going down, then on the hourly chart, if you're trading hourly, you're just looking for the MACD to roll over. That's how simple it really gets. MACD starts to cross over. I'm trading, taking short position. Just keep it small and make sure you got your stop losses in there. Okay? It's that simple. August 8th, 1 p.m. I'm sorry, June 8th. June 8th, 1 p.m. Let me check that again. Just make sure I got that right. Yeah, June 8th, 1 p.m. This one, June 14th, 7 a.m. Okay, June 14th, 7 a.m. Okay. So that's good, guys. This takes you all the way out. Just pause the video, screenshot it, get your snippet out. Okay, if you're on Windows platform, if you're on a Windows OS or your smartphones, they all have some type of snippet or screenshot type of software. Okay, and there you go. You can just put it on a Post-it note and stick it to your forehead. Okay, I'm just kidding. Put it on the wall. Put it on your desk, wherever you're at. Okay, put it on your nightstand. Okay, there are your dates and times for the hourly chart. And there's a good chance most of these are going to have prices declining down into them. The AC just kicked on because here in Texas, we've been having temperatures right around 100 degrees in May. 100 degrees. Yikes. We're not even in June yet. So we got basically a drop going on down here in Texas. Scorching temperatures. All right, let's switch over to oil. And I'll finish up. I'm just going to look at the daily chart on oil, okay? Yeah, looks like all I have is daily. So let me go to the daily, 1 year daily. Koi. Crude oil. Last week I think I drew a line on this, or I drew this line here a while back, okay? Because I see a base there. And I see a triangle forming here, some type of triangle. Let me put this in yellow. Right, on this daily, I'm looking at this. Let me get the right drawing, Let me get the right drawing. I'm looking at this right here, guys. Okay. That's what I'm watching. That's it. I'm watching this. We have a descending triangle. Okay. Or just a triangle. It's just a triangle with a. It's not called a descending triangle. This is called another type of triangle. I forget the name of the triangle. Basically, it's a triangle. And that means that price for crude oil is going to want to do something above or below. And right now it's favoring this stuff. It's favoring that. Something like that. See how it's riding along this trend line here? So there's like a little mini triangle, or yeah, it's almost like there's another mini triangle inside this bigger triangle. Okay, it's kind of hard to extrapolate this out, but I'll try to make it happen here. Get two different things going on here. There's a smaller triangle inside this big triangle. Okay. So that tells me that this area in here is getting really tight. That's what's happening. This little dinky triangle right here is it. Oil's going to do something. Going to do something probably fairly significant, probably no later than like first or second week of June. Something significant's going to happen with oil. So going into this next cycle here, which looks like it starts right around June 1, is this cycle here. Cycle starts on 5/31 and ends on June 26. But it's not so much the cycle with crude oil in this case, but it's the pattern that it's following. So this candlestick pattern is very interesting. Looks like we're going to get, I mean, this just, man, if it continues to do this, it's also like right here, okay? Kind of like this. Also, another way to look at this is as a channel. Yeah, you got a few different geometrical shapes kind of taking place here. So up into this little mini triangle, down, but see it never touched here, so but something like that going on, a little mini channel here, see that? But it's within two bigger triangles. So I would say that this trend line here is pretty important. And this upper line here is important too. They're both in kind of close proximity, at least for a while. So that's why I say this area right here is something significant is going to happen. And the way crude oil's been, if I had to guess, we're going to get a breakout to the upside. If you can believe it. If you can believe it, with oil at $110. Thank you, Brandon. Brandon, so awesome. Yeah, the selected one. And thank you, George Soros, criminal cartel. That's right, I said it right here in the video. Dog. That whole damn cartel can be burned to the ground, as far as I give a damn. So thank you, Brandon, for crude oil being at $110, huh? For the families that are struggling and hardly have any money in their pocket, just making ends meet, especially in rural areas, guys and gals. They have to drive long distances to get to and from. They are really struggling. And this guy right here, I got a few choice words I like to say, but I'm going to keep my mouth clean. This guy's a piece of work, man. So I think we're going to get crude oil to break out to the upside above this line, maybe even that line. Okay, I see it happening. I see crude oil getting above 115, going up to 120. It just looks like that's what it wants to do. I think we're going to get it. If I had to pick because there's going to be a breakout, this is what I'm really saying. There's going to be a breakout here, okay? It's going to be some type of breakout. And I have a feeling it's going to do that. It may not do it right here where I have it. It may be like over here more or whatever. But somewhere in this area, there's going to be a breakout. Now, it could come down and break out to the downside. That's also possible. But everything is pointing up right now. So just by instinctively looking at this price action and these geometrical shapes, I would say crude oil is heading for 120 bucks. 115, 120 in the near future. Okay? That's my thoughts on crude oil. And that is it for right now, guys and gals. Hope everybody had a great trading day, a great trading week. God bless you. Forgive one another. Love one another. We'll talk to you all real soon again next time.